Edge Expert Series with Lauren Serratore.
Everybody.
I'm Frank Vaccaro, mortgage advisor and creator of the Equity Edge, and I'm here with my newest partner, the incredibly talented Lauren Serratore. So Lauren, for the folks that haven't met you yet, what should they know about your approach to real estate?
Yeah, well, thank you so much for having me, Frank.
Yeah.
I'm so happy to be here. So my approach to real estate is that I believe that there is a place in homeownership for everybody, and that is going to look different for everyone. So whether it's a new construction home, buying land and building on it, working with a builder, buying a home that you are going to renovate, or prepping your home to sell, there's a place for everybody here, and it's trying to figure out what works best for everybody's situation and how we can get them to the ultimate goal of ownership and how we can get them to the ultimate goal of having their dream home a reality.
Okay, great. And how would you approach a seller? So what would be your ideas for a seller?
Yeah, so definitely making sure that your home is top-notch prep to sell, all the way from staging, small updates that we can do to make the marketing the best it could possibly be, getting you the biggest bang for your buck. Obviously, you want to see your return on every investment that you make, and getting you ready for whatever that next step is. Are you downsizing? Are you getting a bigger home because your family's growing? What does that look like for you? And kind of laying that all out on the table.
Okay, great. And since this is kind of our first time together and our first time doing a podcast, how long have you been in real estate? What's kind of your background, and what made you come into the real estate profession?
Yeah. So I actually started out, my degree is in interior design and interior architecture. So I started out in the interior space, classically trained and licensed, and I've been doing that for almost 15 years now. And through my own home buying process and working with my real estate agent, who is one of the best in the game, he came to me and he said, "You have this eye that obviously is technically trained, that a lot of people would value from the real estate side." And after that conversation, I actually had a couple of design clients say similar things to me as, "Hey, we already bought this home. You're in here. You're helping us with it. But we feel like we missed out on a couple homes during the home buying process because we couldn't see the potential that someone like you could." And so that's when I started to think about how could these two worlds really mesh for me. And that's ultimately what drove me to get licensed, is understanding that there is a whole market of people on the buying and the selling side that can't fully grasp the fact that a couple of small additions, subtractions, edits could make this a dream home or could get you X amount of more dollars for your current home. So I got licensed in essentially the beginning of 2022, and I've been, blending these two careers together since.
Okay. So buying and selling in real estate overall is strategic. That's how I look at it, right? There should be a strategy involved, whether it's financing or buying or selling. So I love that you have this design eye that you approach the strategy with. How does that set you apart from maybe other real estate agents that maybe don't have that strategic eye as their background?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I like to sit down with both buyers and sellers and understand where they're at currently, what their wish list items are or their pain points are in their current home that they're looking to sell, and then working together to get to that next step. So, finding your lender, making sure everybody's aligned in that regard, and then seeing what we can do in terms of, getting creative with financing for, okay, we're going to purchase this house for X amount of dollars, and then let's play around with this type of loan or this type of financing or the funds that you currently have to do some renovation projects and make it your dream home, if it's something that we can't get your dream home for at your price point from the very beginning.
Kind of like a love it or list it type.
Yeah, exactly. A love it or list it. Yeah. And that goes for both buyers and sellers. And obviously I don't want to ever discourage anyone from selling if that's their ultimate goal. But, hey, okay, well, if we stain these floors that you absolutely hate, maybe would you stay here? Or even better, could you get $30,000 more dollars? Because we're going to stain them to what current home buyers are really into right now.
Right.
And
so the design background is more than just like a staging element. It's actually 100%. Like, it's not just you're coming in and bringing in a different couch or things like that. You're actually really looking at how can we get more out of this space.
Yeah. So I stay really up, from the design side. I use the word trends very lightly because I think that when you come to designing your home, you want to make sure that it's something that you're comfortable with living in, and you're not designing it for a trend, you're designing it for you. But I do stay very on top of trends when it comes to what home buyers are looking for in a home. Right now we're seeing warmer tones, lighter floors like that whitewashed oak and things like that. So, okay, if you have these mid-century modern floors that are this like orangey red tone, can we get to a light oak in some way or another that's going to make a millennial home buyer come in and say, oh my gosh, this is exactly what I've been looking for, and I don't have to do this once I move in. Because even if that dollar amount is the same, not having to do something when I move in is so much more valuable than potentially moving in and living in a renovation or having to pay rent at my old place while I renovate the floors. So if the seller can take care of little things like that, that's going to, make the selling process that much smoother. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, it's worth it then.
Yeah.
Right?
Hey, it's Frank and Lauren here. We are interrupting the podcast flow for just a second to let you know that if you are looking to buy or sell in the next few months, or you're looking to finance a purchase or a home project, you can check out our contact information in the link below.
Great. Okay, so let's kind of shift focus a little bit. Let's talk a little bit about what you're seeing in the current market, right? Because we have a lot of buyers that are still kind of sitting on the sideline. They're not quite ready to jump in. We have, at least in our area, it seems like the hot sellers market of a year ago has kind of dissipated just a little bit. But to me, still kind of seems like a seller's market. So what are you seeing in terms of kind of the Philly area?
Yeah, absolutely. So first off, I'm seeing this vary greatly, even from zip code to zip code. So it's crazy to me how even within these counties, we're seeing a great difference in where this market is. I would still say for where I'm working and most of my buyers and sellers, definitely still seeing a strong seller's market, although it's starting to even out. Inventory months are starting to increase a little bit, especially like in the Montgomery County area. We're starting to see it even out a little bit. But what we're starting to see is buyers are being a little bit more selective. And if sellers are getting a little bit greedy with where they're listing, those listings are sitting longer. So being more strategic with the list price and, being more reasonable in your expectation of A, how much money you're going to get out of it, and B, how long you could potentially be sitting on market, especially if you are overpriced. It's important for us agents to sit down with the seller and paint that picture and that expectation.
Yeah, and that's what I was wondering, if it's the sellers maybe overreaching a little bit right now, right? Or is it the buyers, they're learning to kind of hold and wait, or if it's both.
I think it's a little bit of both. I do, yeah. But I definitely think that it's humbling the seller a little bit and understanding that it's not 2022 where you're going to get $100,000, $150,000 over ask on every single home. We need to be a little bit more realistic. There are certainly homes that are still going for, that much over, that are move-in ready, very appealing, great location, things like that check all the boxes for so many people. But we're definitely seeing buyers that are able to get a little bit more out of the deal. So in terms of maybe electing an inspection and still winning the offer, or getting a concession in some point or another, or for something or another from the seller for a repair or something like that.
The inspection piece has always been interesting to me, because I couldn't imagine bidding on a house without an inspection. But that's just what you've had to do for the past year, right? And you didn't move on.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. So in this month's homeownership hat section of our newsletter, we covered the top 5 backyard upgrades with the best return on investment. So what was your favorite out of that list, or what advice would you give to someone, especially with your design background, including in like a backyard? What do you see as that return on investment potential?
Yeah. So I think the highest return on investment when it comes to exterior, I'm going to say 2 are my top 2. My first would be an outdoor kitchen.
Okay.
We saw it during the pandemic, and I think we're still seeing it now, is people are still retreating to home. They're wanting to cook at home, cook family meals, and, spend time together and really make that a whole experience. And being able to do that outside in the summer months in a very high level way is definitely going to be beneficial for, the buyers and the sellers,
Right.
in investing that money. And I would say the second is landscaping and just curb appeal, especially if you're thinking about in the next even couple years selling, is making sure that you're starting to think about, okay, what does my home look like from the street in all seasons, right? Because we're in the Northeast
Right.
area, the tri-state area, so we're seeing all seasons. And so what does my home look like,
Right.
spring, summer, winter, and
When
fall, and
people
how
pull up, they want to see
yep.
everything put together and
Yeah.
see it look
Yeah.
nice.
And I can speak from personal experience. I don't want surprises. If I move in December, I don't want to learn in May that my flower beds have never been weeded and
Right.
it's a disaster. So thinking about those things is really going to help to elevate that
Now,
process as well.
when you list, let's say you list in November or
Mhm.
December, do you ever include photos of the outdoor space when it's in on season, like a spring or summer? Like, does that help in the listing process?
Yeah, I've seen, and even from the buyer side too, I've seen we're getting very creative with things like AI and Photoshop and things
Yeah.
like that, understanding what the landscape could look like in the spring and summer, photoshopping the green lawns and things
Right.
like that. And I definitely think it helps to kind of paint that whole picture.
Yeah.
Because you want to see too, that greenery and those pops of color and things like that. It elevates everything and it brings so much to life. And let's say, you know, unfortunately, your listing photos are right after a 3-inch snowstorm.
Right.
We are able to tweak it a little bit and paint a little bit more of a realistic picture of what
Interesting.
that's going to look like.
The outdoor kitchen is such a great idea, right? Like a deck and outdoor kitchen is something that, and what's great about the return on investment is that if you're not moving right away, you can put something like that in and you can enjoy it for a little bit yourself,
Yeah.
right? You enjoy it that first year or two, maybe you're planning on moving in 3 years. And it's still going to give you that return on investment in 3 years, but then you get to use it for the next
Yeah.
2 years,
Yeah.
right? And if you're looking for a way to actually pay for it, we have a lot of home equity programs like HELOCs and things like that that
Mhm.
can fund you very easily and can work with some of your preferred partners, some of your contractors, and people that
Mhm.
that can really help your buyers and the people that's already bought with you make the backyard of their dreams or
Yeah.
their side yard or their front yard or wherever they're going to put in those items.
Yeah, absolutely. And you brought up a really good point too. You don't need to be selling in 2 months to
Right.
start utilizing things like a HELOC or renovation or construction loans, things like that. You can, if you have selling in mind 3 to 5 years from now, you can do those projects now, enjoy them with your
Yeah.
family, and then reap the benefits of them later on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I did a newsletter last month, and in it we focused on building like outbuildings, like an office in the backyard,
Yeah.
right? And how you can use the HELOC to do that, and how enjoyable that becomes for you, right? Because now, I mean, both of us work from home, and we have kids, and we know what it's like to work from home in an office with kids running around,
Yeah.
right? But there's different ways that you can use your equity
Yeah.
to make your space better while you're living there.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
So, okay, so kind of our closing, kind of our last section. So if someone is thinking about buying or selling in the next 6 months, how would they get in touch with you? What's the best way for them to get in touch with you and to kind of move forward with what their plans are?
Yeah, absolutely. So my website has all my contact information, www.westfifthavenue.com, which is the name of my design firm, but also that's like my umbrella of my design and real estate all mixed into one.
Okay.
I am on Instagram, TikTok as the Lasers Lifestyle, so you can find me there. I love talking to people in the DMs, getting to know them and their lifestyle, and that's definitely part of my consultation process is understanding who you are as a person.
Okay.
So I think it's so cool when people reach out to me on social media and we really can kind of get to know each other before we even talk any kind of business.
Okay.
So I love that too.
What kinds of things should they have prepared to meet with you? Is there like a checklist that like before you come out they should think about certain things or do certain things, or is it just, let's just call Lauren, let's get started?
Yeah. So I work either way. I mean, I kind of love the candid conversation. And then
Mhm.
from that conversation, I can send them information that they need. I have a great buyer or seller packet that kind of lists out next steps, talking to a loan officer if you are on the buyer side, or kind of getting your house ready to list if you're on the seller side. So yeah, you don't really need to have anything prepared. We can have a
Okay.
totally candid conversation, understand where you are in the process, where your thoughts are, what your wants and needs are, and then move on from there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're going to be doing this every month. We'll be sending out a newsletter each month. And part of that newsletter will be this kind of a 15-minute talk with Lauren and I about the kind of the current market and what you can do to kind of increase your equity. So we look forward to seeing you in your inboxes. And if you ever need to get in touch with either one of us, you can reference the newsletter, and there's some links there. So
Cool.
awesome sitting down with you. I
Yeah.
look forward to talking to you next month too.
Yeah. Thanks so
Yeah.
much. Yeah. Looking
Thank-
forward to it.
Yep.
All
Thank
right.
you.